Welcome back from the weekend. It is Good Morning Uganda, and you are watching UBC TV, here to inspire you. Now, the weekend was one that started with the news of the passing of Muslim cleric Sheikh Ndirangwa, who passed on Friday, and really, indeed, may his soul rest in peace. The same weekend he was buried, but also the same weekend ended with security forces neutralizing a female suicide bomber at Kalerwe market in Kampala. What a weekend, but the week is here and it has started. Join in as we take it on to start off your morning. My name is Julie Nantawamusisi and I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. Good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you, Julie, and our viewers. Welcome to yet another new week.
Right, indeed. Now, speaking of events regarding the week, and that is the weekend in a landmark show of unity and ideological alignment. Different Ugandan sub-regions, Greater Arua, Greater Nebi, Karamoja, Toro, Rwenzori, Bunyoro, Teso, Bugisu, Elgon, that is Sebe as well, and Busoga have unanimously endorsed President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for the 2026 presidential election, and the regions also backed senior presidential advisor on trade and investment Philip Kakuru for national chairperson of the NRM Central Executive Committee Entrepreneurs League. Now, the vision for growth here, while addressing delegates across the regions, Kakuru outlined a bold vision for inclusive economic growth. His campaign rooted in the NRM's core principle of economic liberation through entrepreneurship, and has struck a chord with grassroots supporters. Known for his business acumen, Kakuru recently launched an entrepreneurs circle, contributing 100 million Uganda shillings to support local businesses. His initiative is seen as a practical step toward empowering Ugandans and promoting sustainable development. Now, when we talk about rejecting money politics, this wave of endorsements reflects a shift within the NRM, which many delegates expressing support for candidates who prioritize ideological clarity and long-term vision over transactional politics. As Uganda prepares for the 2026 elections, these endorsements underscore a maturing political landscape. One delegate noted, and another said the support for Museveni and Kakuru represents continuity blended with fresh energy and a focus on youth and entrepreneurship. And looking at the issue of bridging generations, while President Museveni's legacy continues to resonate through his focus on stability and development, Kakuru's emergence offers a complementary dynamic, bridging generational gaps and energizing Uganda's entrepreneur space.
Well, Kakuru is one of the people I have known, one for his business ideology. He is also the leader of the NRM in diaspora, to be more specific, that is South Africa. And when you talk about business, he's a very successful businessman, not only here in Uganda, but also in South Africa. Now, a person taking on such, if he takes it up to the SEC, that will mean that great minds have come together to ensure that they extend that, you know, there's someone standing for position, and you're like, but does this person really have the experience, the technical abilities to run this? But when you find a man who has successfully made it in the business arena, both here and even in South Africa, now coming to lead, he has just been the, would I say, the missing part of the puzzle. Now, if that is fixed properly, I want to believe that he comes with great ideas, great minds, and a huge experience for that position.
Indeed, and he's quite the business brains. He has quite a creative
So if he makes it to space
and when it comes to business.
Yes, because of course we know so much is happening on the political calendar of NRM. Many are showing interest here, there, and there. And at the end of the day, we wait to see who will take it. But I hope if Kakuru takes it, it will be a very wise choice.
Right, indeed. Wishing you all the best, Philip Kakuru. But on that note, let's have a look at what is on the local scene.
Well, we begin with President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who has reiterated his determination to deal with rampant animal theft in rural areas, particularly targeting farmers of the parish development model. President Museveni was responding to questions raised by journalists from Greater Mukono at State Lodge, Nakasero, as part of his wealth creation tour of the region. He said that with the introduction of cameras, police dogs, and electronic number plates, crimes should be manageable. He stressed that a strict coordination between the population and the police should be used using telephone communication for emergency situations. The president cautioned residents, however, not to tamper with the scene of crime to enable police sniffer dogs trace the thieves. Museveni also promised to create a special fund for the fishing community. However, explaining that measures are going on to be able to put in place government regulatory framework for fishing activities on all water bodies. The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, who was asked about the safety of journalists during the forthcoming campaign period, assured them of protection. He said government is considering having an engagement between the media and security to ensure a harmonious working environment. An intelligence-led operation, Uganda's security agencies killed a suspected suicide bomber who, according to security sources, was planning to attack Kalere Market and a church at Kubiri. The incident occurred Sunday morning. Uganda People's Defense Force spokesperson Major General Felix Kulaije said intelligence was gathered indicating that the female suicide bomber was planning to attack Kalere Market and a church in Kubiri, Wandegea. Kulaije stated that the suspected terrorist boarded a border at Busega. A plainclothes security team began trailing her on a motorbike before she could reach Kalere. She was intercepted by security operatives but refused to comply. She then proceeded towards the entrance of Kalere Market via the Freedom Gate route, where security forces gunned her down. The border rider fled the scene in the scuffle. It is alleged the cyclist could be working his businesses around Kalere and also sustained a gunshot and was whisked to hospital. The female suicide bomber was carrying a small bag containing an improvised explosive device, IED. A security cannon was used to detect the device, and the bomb squad successfully neutralized it. Kulaije urged all Ugandans to remain security conscious, especially in markets and worship places, which are often targeted by tourists. He also assured the public that security and intelligence services are on high alert to query any threat. Balalo residents are pleading with President Museveni to consider eviction affecting thousands. Alex Mwesige, chairman of Northern Uganda Commercial Farmers, insists most residents legally acquired their land and hold valid documents. He claims the eviction order is driven by tribalism and political motivation. Edward Tumwesige Kananura was talking also about evictions and said they will cause them major economic losses. Katokipa state they have compiled and complied with all presidential requests, including land demarcation, and pleaded for intervention. They vow to resist eviction, emphasizing their heavy investment in the area. The directive affects over 10,000 and more than 1 million cattle across districts of Adjumani, Noye, Gulu, Pakwach, Masindi, Chiriandongo, Hoima, and Kikube. Well, they insist they won't leave and they'll resist any form of eviction. Wastewater management has long been a pressing challenge to Nyakabanda Transit Center, a refugee settlement in Kisoro district. The center hosts over 1,000 refugees from neighboring countries including Congo, Sudan, and Burundi. However, thanks to the 60 million shilling sanitation project by Israel Forum for International Humanitarian Aid, these waste management issues are now being addressed to improve refugee living conditions. Nyakabande Transit Refugee Camp is home for refugees from several countries bordering Uganda such as Congo, Burundi, and Sudan. But sanitation has been limited within the center and surrounding communities, leading to the spread of waterborne diseases. The Israel Forum for International Humanitarian Aid is implementing a 61 million drainage project. The district engineer, James Karamira, urged donors to cooperate with the local leaders to ensure better service delivery. Local leaders in Kisoro also called for the upgrading of Nyakabande Health Center 3. The head of Nyakabande Refugee Transit Center, Emma Munyongotore, appealed to government to increase support to sustain the center's operations.
All right, thank you, Robert, for what is on the local scene. Let's have a look at what is on the foreign scene. And starting off with Syria, at least 22 people have been killed and 63 others wounded in a suicide bomb attack at a church in Damascus, Syria's health minister did say. Now, a man opened fire with a weapon at the Greek Orthodox Church of the Prophet Elias in the Dweila neighborhood during a service on Sunday evening before detonating an explosive vest, according to the Interior Minister. It said that the attacker was affiliated with the jihadist group Islamic State. There was no immediate claim from the group. Photos and videos from inside the church showed a heavily damaged altar, pews covered in broken glass, and blood spattered across the walls. Witness Lawrence Mamari told AFP news agency that someone entered the church from outside carrying a weapon and began shooting. People tried to stop him, but at that point, it's when he saw windows flying with a blast. Another man who was in a nearby shop said he had gunfire followed by an explosion that sent glass flying. We saw fire in the church and the remains of wooden benches thrown all the way to the entrance, Ziad said. It was the first such attack in Damascus since Islamist-led rebel forces overthrew Bashar al-Assad in December, ending 13 years of devastating civil war. Now, Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei promises to punish the Zionist enemy in his first comments after the U.S. joined Israel's attacks on his country. U.S. President Donald Trump has hinted at possible regime change in Tehran, saying if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? Israel and Iran continue to trade attacks as the world braces for Iran's response to the U.S. bombardment over the Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan sites. The UN's nuclear watchdog says there have been no reports of increased offsite radiation levels following the U.S. attacks. Iran says that more than 400 people have been killed and at least 3,056 others were wounded since Israel launched its attack on June 13th. In Israel, at least 24 people have been killed in Iranian strikes. Now, coming to the continent, 3 people have died after falling from the upper stand of a stadium in Algeria just after the final whistle as local football team MC Alga won the league title, the health ministry said. Dozens of others were injured when a security barrier collapsed, with fans surging forward to celebrate before falling on the lower tier of the 5 July stadium in Algiers, according to local media. More than 70 people have been treated in 3 hospitals, and the health minister says that adding that most have since been released. Players and staff from MC Alga have gone to the hospitals to donate blood to the injured, reports the news agency Reuters. Now, the stadium was packed for the game that saw MC Alga retain the league title they won last year. During the match, the mood was celebratory, with green smoke from flares engulfing the stadium. And following the tragedy, the presentation of the league trophy was postponed. Algerian President Abdel Majid Tebboune offered his condolences and wished a speedy recovery for the injured. MC Alga won the league for a second year in a row after drawing 0-0 against NC Magra. Now that sad event ends what we have on the foreign scene. Let's have a look at what is in the press today.
We'll begin with a new vision this morning where we have Uganda's choice for female president. Well, there's a picture of the Prime Minister and also the Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga there. Now we have Muhoozi holds talks with President Tshisekedi, and also the new vision here talks about which woman would you vote for president. Well, the names are there, the graph is there, and First Lady appeals to art teachers to resume work. They are saying they want an increase. Now, former, that is Uganda Investment Authority boss, awarded 593 million. That is court decision. Wow. And Israel, Iran war here, what next after America bombing? And still the new vision has more for those interested in matters of marriage. Now I quickly go through the Daily Monitor this morning. Quack doctor suspected of killing 3 women. Okay, now Israel-Iran war also, there is shifts focus to Uganda varsity. How? And we trailed suicide bomber for 5 days, says UPDF. And still in the Daily Monitor, here we have citizens ask court to block law that seeks to court-martial civilians. And still Makere Lab brings hope for unborn babies. And government launches 149 billion Greater Kampala Road Network. Now, here the lizard comes in. Citizens ask court to block new UPDF law, but the courts were already ignored. Now that is the lizard as usual.
Interesting. Anyways, let's fly to the rest of East Africa and find out what's going on there. Looking at the Daily Nation, the State House gets another 819 million for renovations. That is a headline in the Daily Nation. And priorities, President has said has raised taxes, slashed subsidies and cut budgets across nearly every public sector in the name of austerity. Looking at the Daily Nation, still Generation Z protests that changed Kenya. And succession, Kibaki Estate Row, why Mary Wambui may be summoned in inheritance dispute. And matters war, U.S. strikes on Iran nuclear sites are real-life test of hard power's limits. That is what we have in the dailies today. And on that note, let's have a short break and enjoy some music. When we get back, we'll be talking matters of road safety, so stick around.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Unity and ideological alignment. Different Ugandan sub-regions, Greater Arua, Greater Nebi, Karamoja, Toro, Renzori, Bunyoro, Teso, Bogisu, Elgon, that is Sebe as well, and Busoga have unanimously endorsed President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for the 2026 presidential election. And the regions also backed senior presidential advisor on trade and investment, Philip Kakuru, for national chairperson of the NRM Central Executive Committee Entrepreneurs League. Now, the vision for growth here, while addressing delegates across the regions, Kakuru outlined a bold vision for inclusive economic growth. His campaign rooted in the NRM's core principle of economic liberation through entrepreneurship and has struck a chord with grassroots supporters. Known for his business acumen, Kakuru recently launched an entrepreneurs circle, contributing 100 million Uganda shillings to support local businesses. His initiative is seen as a practical step toward empowering Ugandans and promoting sustainable development. Now, when we talk about rejecting money politics, this wave of endorsements reflects a shift within the NRM, which many delegates expressing support for candidates who prioritize ideological clarity and long-term vision over transactional politics. As Uganda prepares for the 2026 elections, these endorsements underscore a maturing political landscape. One delegate noted. And another said the support for Museveni and Kakuru represents continuity blended with fresh energy and a focus on youth and entrepreneurship. And looking at the issue of bridging generations, while President Museveni's legacy continues to resonate through his focus on stability and development, Kakuru's emergence offers a complementary dynamic, bridging generational gaps and energizing Uganda's entrepreneur space.
Well, Kakuru is one of the people I have known, one for his business ideology. He is also the leader of the NRM in diaspora, to be more specific, that is South Africa. And when you talk about business, he's a very successful businessman, not only here in Uganda, but also in South Africa. Now, a person taking on such, if he takes it up to the SEC, that will mean that great minds have come together to ensure that they extend that, you know, there's someone standing for position, and you're like, but does this person really have the experience, the technical abilities to run this? But when you find a man who has successfully made it in the business arena, both here and even in South Africa, now coming to lead, he has just been the, would I say, the missing part of the puzzle. Now, if that is fixed properly, I want to believe that he comes with great ideas, great minds, and a huge experience for that position.
Indeed, and he's quite the business brains. He has quite a creative
So if he makes it to
space
and,
when it comes to business.
yes, because of course we know so much is happening on the political calendar of NRM. Many are showing interest here, there, and there. And at the end of the day, we wait to see who will take it. But I hope if Kakuru takes it, it will be a very wise choice. For the party.
Right, indeed, wishing you
Brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. But what you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
In a nation hungry for truth,
A world where every story matters. There exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning, Uganda. If you've just joined us, thank you so much for choosing to watch UBC TV. If you started the show with us, thank you for being on from the start. And as we continue, time for The Real, where we get to engage in conversations that you and us here share our 2 cents. But with an expert, the better. Now, following the suspension of the automated express penalty scheme, owing to the lack of sensitization, police has launched a road safety campaign, starting with public service vehicles. And to speak into this matter over the phone with us is ASP Michael Kananura, who is the traffic police spokesperson. Good morning, Michael Kananura.
Good morning, Judy. How are you over there?
Very well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Right, we're having this conversation alongside Sharbo Robert, who is my co-host as well. And let's start off with what prompted the relaunch of the road safety campaign at such a time as this.
Thank you once again, and thank you for hosting me this morning. The sensitizations, we are all aware that we are faced with the challenge of road crashes in our country, where we see every day we lose 14 people according to the statistics of 2024. And last year we saw this report mention that we lost 5,144 people on the road. And that the majority of these people, or 60% of these people, are people who have no control over these vehicles. So they are neither riders nor drivers, but we rather see passengers, vulnerable passengers who cannot control these vehicles, pedestrians, many other people, pedestrians, passengers, and passengers on both motorcycles and the motor vehicles are dying on these roads. And we are saying that also road safety is a collective responsibility. We all have roles to play to ensure that our roads are safe, Julie, and to those who are listening.
Yes, please.
So what are we supposed to do as pedestrians? Do we think we have roles to play in as far as creating safer roads is concerned, as passengers in these vehicles, do we think we have a role to play? As drivers, as riders, do we think we have a role to play? And if we have a role to play, then what is that we have to do? So we are looking at very many people. We are looking at various categories of people on this road. But yesterday, our being in Kampala Metropolitan North, we are looking at these regions that were leading in these crashes. We saw Kampala Metropolitan North alone losing 300 and around 74 people around there. So which makes it the third region. The third region after Riz, Barara, then the second one was the Arbaton region, that is Hoima, and the third region. And all these other regions that I've mentioned, we have already visited them. We have gone to them, and we have called on board all stakeholders and say, look here, don't wait for only police to come to see that there are safer roads, but you as, for example, a local leader person in an area, in a given area, what is it that we must do? Market vendors, what are we supposed to do? Do we sit and look on? Absolutely not. So that is why we are doing this observation, Julie, and it's those that are listening. Thank you.
Now, also help us, how are you conducting this? Is it through seminars? Is it going to the media? Do you invite them in a certain place? So the methodology for effective sensitization.
Yeah, thank you. What we do, these people are invited. Actually, we start with our own police officers, because our own police, and we don't only target the traffic officers alone, no. All police officers you can think of, be it CID officers, be it crime intelligence officers, all sorts of police officers in these areas. They are the people that we start with, and then later now we go to the stakeholders. We invite them in form of workshops, we invite them, and then we like dialogue. We dialogue. We speak to each other, and we air out our views. We tell them what they are supposed to do, and they also share with us the challenges probably that they go through, or the loopholes maybe they see that also among us, and all of that. So we like kind of dialogue. And then we also have some materials that we share with them to help them get to understand more on what it entails when we talk of road safety, and how they are also supposed now to help us. So we have things like the road safety, the road traffic signs. We have books like good books that have good information that can guide pedestrians, that can speak everyone, and that can really call on board of everyone, and also reminding them or teaching them what, for example, they are supposed to be doing. And many other things really that can help them to understand better what road safety is all about. And then, of course, we also know now the power of the media. When we talk of stakeholders in road safety, we cannot leave out media. Media, you people are very key, because you do amplify our information, our message. And we call upon you. You have also come and joined us, that whatever we speak in those areas of places, it does not end there, but you go ahead to put it on different social media forums, on radios, televisions, and then for other people to understand and see and pick some of those key messages, and also moving with those that have not attended, but through different forums and various forums that you people use. These will also get the information across the country.
Right, thank you very much. Now, you did share a statistic that 14 people died daily as per the report of 2024, and unfortunately most of these are passengers and pedestrians. Now, you realize that quite a number of pedestrians do not even know how to read road signs. Whilst the traffic has been paused for them to cross, they stand alongside the traffic. Whilst the traffic has been allowed green for it to move, they also cross alongside the traffic. What plans are there to sensitize pedestrians on how to use the roads? Because ideally, they could also be part of the causes of the many road accidents.
Yes, they do. I agree with you, Julie, because alone, we lost 1,666 pedestrians on our roads. And I agree with you that there are also reckless behaviors they do on those roads that results into their being knocked. You find, for example, some pedestrians are drunk and they want to use these roads. Others are careless, they are using phones, they are WhatsApping, they are listening to music, and they are using these busy roads, which is, of course, a danger to them. And as we are doing this sensitization, we are not leaving out anyone. We are not leaving out anyone. Only that we get a time that we want to categorize, because some people will have different messages for them. If, for example, we are looking at only those drivers that drive passengers, those vehicles that drive public service vehicles, then at some other point now we look at calling now these other people. But one other thing that people need to hear and understand is that every person is a pedestrian, including you, including myself. We get the time and we cannot use these vehicles, for example, to enter into supermarkets or use them to cross roads. So where we park and use the foot, then they are qualified to be a pedestrian. So everyone is a pedestrian. That's what everyone has to know. I've seen people get up early in the morning and they get to roads to jog. And what are they doing? They are using headsets. And then we forget that when you're on this road, every part of your body must concentrate, much more so your mind and your ears. Your ears must be on the road to hear. You may, for example, hear the sound of a certain vehicle and train that this is a huge vehicle. So if you are, for example, putting in headset, then you are interfering. You are hearing what happens. You cannot hear properly what is on the road, and then it may endanger you, and that you may easily be knocked. So everyone qualifies to be a pedestrian, but then now when we go to places like the markets along the highways, which we have done, which we are still doing, now there we are sure that we are talking to real pedestrians now who are there on that road where vehicles are passing. And we also talk to them and we speak to them and caution them on what they are supposed to be doing, and hopefully this will also yield results. Sensitization is very key and very good, and all we pray is that really people can take in our messages. Let them not just think that we are just talking, speaking, but we are speaking words of life that once they take them in seriously, it will save their lives as they use these roads. So they must also not be reckless. We have seen how these borders are too busy on the roads, and we have seen also how vehicles also are too busy on the roads. So we cannot sit and say, let the police control the vehicles, as then for us pedestrians, we are careless. Absolutely not. So we must also understand and know what we are supposed to do. There are cases I've seen, for example, we have taken to court to DPP to tell us the way forward, and then they say, no, this pedestrian was careless. We have such a cases. And then they tell you, they say, no, let this fire be closed because this pedestrian was crossing carelessly. He did not look left, right before they crossed. So we have seen such a cases. And that's where we're putting emphasis also on sensitizing these vulnerable road users to ensure that they are safe as they use these roads.
Now, Michael, one of the areas you talked about, people knowing their responsibilities are passengers. Now, help us understand the rights of a passenger and how they can control a driver. For example, I board let me just mention any common bus company, say Link Coaches. Here I am, I'm seated in the bus, and I'm a passenger. I get on a border. Here I am, I'm sitting on this bike, I'm a passenger. So where do I come in as a passenger? What do I do as far as promoting road safety and reducing the death due to accidents?
Thank you so much, Pana Chirabo. Passengers, like I have told you, that they are the ones dying mostly and innocently because they cannot control these vehicles. So, and they also come onto these roads to get various vehicles to move them from one place to another. It is very key, and it begins with them. Safety begins with you. Safety begins with you, a passenger. If you get to the road, if you get to the park, choose the vehicle you are going to board. In some vehicles, you may not need really traffic to come and tell you that this is a DMC. You look at vehicles and you tell. You look at the tires of the vehicles. You look at the vehicle, how the vehicle is looking. You really tell that this vehicle for sure may not take me to where I am going. So that is point number one. Before you board that vehicle, does it have all the requirements? Is this vehicle really safe? Is it a DMC? Does it have the tires, for example? It doesn't cost you anything. If you first move around, let people say you have to get this, but this is your life. So before you wait for, because others will say, let me board. It's not that way. If police gets us, if it doesn't, then we shall go. No way. No way. As passengers, you must choose. You must select effectively which vehicle are you going to use before you start. Even those who get onto borders, if, for example, you cannot just choose to sit on every border you come across. The person does not have a element. The person is very happy. The person is putting on slippers, is riding on slippers, even looks drunk, even smelling alcohol, and I risk my life. I didn't do that motorcycle. Absolutely not. The person does not even have a second helmet to give me. Then how safe am I? So this is your life. This is what we are saying. This is your life. And when now we get to those vehicles, especially buses or omnibuses, for example, I've seen people they wait for vehicles. As vehicles are loading them, they are saying we want those which are already full. Why do you want a vehicle which is already full? Why did you get a vehicle which has a space? And when they overload you, it's your life. Speak up and say, please, stop here. Let me get out. You can't load us like this. Yes, people will abuse you, but you are saving your life and you're also saving lives of others. So where situations are that you cannot really, you have no control, then call us. Give us calls. We have always given our numbers, toll-free numbers. Please call and give us numbers. People these days have smartphones. Social media is everywhere. They can use these forums to report these vehicles. And some of us have gone ahead to report to us these vehicles. And this is what we want. We are calling all these Ugandans who are moving these vehicles. Don't sit and watch. That man is reckless. The person is on a phone calling. He's risking your lives in corners, overtaking anyhow, and you keep quiet. No. You must call and give us information. So this is what the passengers must do to ensure that they are safe and the other lives of other people in those vehicles.
Right. Now, which groups are you specifically targeting for this particular campaign?
Come again?
Which groups are you specifically targeting for the relaunched campaign?
Yes, those campaigns, like I told you, we are moving in that order on how these branches were occurring, because I told you that when we look at our table, we saw Reese was the first in fatalities. It killed more people. It was followed by Albertine, that is Hoima. It was following Albertine, it was the second, and the third was in Kampala Metropolitan North. Then from there, we also now saw regions like Aswa West, that is Guru. So after here, we are moving to Aswa, then now come back to these other regions. Kampala Metropolitan East was the one following, then Kampala Metropolitan South. So KMP North, they did so bad in terms of crashes. So it's where now we are moving in that order. And I want also to tell you that places where, for example, we have moved, we are seeing changes, because for us we get these statistics every day. We are seeing great improvement. People are now involved. Politicians are coming on board. Local leaders are coming on board. This is everyone. They are all saying, no, I think, yes, it is true. We have a role to play. And this is what we are looking for. So where we have come from, we are seeing change. We are seeing positive change. And hopefully, where we're also going, where we have just recently, we are going to see this positive change to move on.
Now, Michael, let's look at the elephant in the room. That is the element of... Let's look at the biggest problem in road safety, one of the biggest challenges. That is the issue of corruption. Recently, I hired a certain role to deliver some products somewhere, and that was in Luwero. Now, what I witnessed, my experience there, was corruption, untold corruption, where a police officer stops this truck driver, and not any interaction, the driver just says, "Afande jebale komwebale emirimu," folds and gives, and you just continue. And I witnessed this in about 6 stopovers being made. How are you going to fight corruption? Because believe you me, the enforcers of the law may not enforce the law to the latter. and also the public knowing that there's an escape route, much as they are sensitized. So how do we handle corruption?
Yeah, thank you. One, like I've always said, and I want to repeat this, Mr. Chairman, that this is what we mean when we say a collective responsibility. Things that are not right to you people, we expect you to report them to us. Because also, I will not be thinking that we only deploy angels on these roads. No, there are those that we are not fine. And we can only know that when you people report to us. For example, if you, now we are giving now a live example, if Chairman, you have my number, imagine we sit into a lorry and you go on giving that money, you can't even call and say, Kananura, there is a problem here. So I fault you there. And people also need to understand that one, these people who are giving in the money, they are neither good. Let them not think that for us that they are good, because we are giving in the money, the people are stealing our money. No. The giver and the receiver are all bad. And they are all supposed to be charged according to the rule. This is bribery, the other one is corruption. And this is when we say that people, let us join hands. We want this information. We have smartphones that these things can be recorded, and some people have done so. And I want to tell you, if you come to the theater and visit us almost every day, we have these courts sitting and trying these officers who are misbehaving on the road. We have a compliance team which is responsible for the behavior of these officers, especially those who go to take money and not to do what they are supposed to do to save lives of people. So all we need is information, because if you can't get information, how do you want us to perform? So why should people give in this money and they wait for us on radios, televisions, and then they call us your officers are corrupt? You who are giving this money, why don't you tell us before you give this money and say, please, have I counted here an officer is asking for money, help us. And those that have done it, I want to tell you and assure listeners that we have gone ahead, picked those officers, tried them in our courts, and we have done the needful to them. So that team is there for the fledged. We have standard operating procedures that we don't only buy those sensitize people, but we also send our officers and speak to them about, for example, these socks. How are they supposed to conduct themselves? If, for example, I tell you that as a driver, when a traffic officer stops you, you are not supposed to move out of the vehicle. Remain on your steering. Let this officer interact with you while on your steering. And let there be transparency. If there are passengers, 14 passengers in a normal bus, let them all watch what is happening. But what do we see? Even when we popularize this and speak to these officers and also give it out to the public for them to know, what do we see? That when a driver stops, immediately they jump out of the vehicle. What are they going to do? Behind the vehicles. All this, we condemn it, and the public is aware that we do condemn it. Drivers themselves know that it is not allowed. It is against our SOPs. We get a guideline that guide us on how we are supposed to operate and do our work, which we also speak to our officers. So all I ask people, let them share with us information. Who does not have a smartphone, for example? Many people have smartphones. How many of you have you recorded these things and shared them with us? No, some of us have done it, and it gives us good evidence to stand on and charge these officers. Even if we see anything circulating on social media concerning receiving money by the officer, even if you don't come out, Chirabo and Chirabo, the one who put it, no, it is enough for us to stand on that and charge them. If you want to try, if you want to confirm that, this paper, you will see court sit almost every day doing this. So we need your cooperation. We need your information. Let's not just lament, but rather share this information for us to effectively implement these SOPs among our officers and make sure that there is this among them and on our roads.
All right, thank you very much, ASP Michael Kananura. He is the traffic spokesperson. Thank you for making time to speak to us and to sensitize and inspire Uganda. Wishing you a good one on this relaunch program that has started.
And maybe also to correct you, Julie, I'm SP, not ASP. You're demoting me.
All right. All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. All right. That is it for The Real today. Good morning, Uganda. Hopefully you've taken many leaves, picked many leaves, and going to chew on them. I think my highlight is instead of lamenting, let us report the cases that we witness as citizens of Uganda. Most of us have smartphones. Most of us have access to these police authorities. So instead of going on social media to lament, let's go on social media to report and tag them so that these cases are handled. Perhaps it's the best way we can fight corruption in many of the government institutions. But for now, GMU Extra is, GMU Tourism Express is up next. Good morning, Uganda does continue.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvest in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geographer we're taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The government's commandate is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of a roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project that answers somebody's question.
For the past 20 weeks, the Front Bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
Why do you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers? You bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport.
If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Now airing every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda. explore Uganda.
Good morning, and once again, thank you for choosing UBC. My name is Zakia Lucky, and we are on Good Morning Uganda. This morning, we come to you with a place where dreams are built, where dreams are nurtured. And with me is Mr. Tashobia, who is going to take us through the brief introduction about Nyungu Creatives Village. Where we are, it's a space full of art, culture, and so much more. We're going to learn about pottery, poetry, like a space of skilling, and Miss Tourism contestants, just the ladies seated in front of you, are going to be also getting skills from the very space. So stick around and get to see what Nyungu Creatives Village has to offer.
Good morning. My name is Jacob Tashobia. I prefer being called Tashobia. I'm a founder of Nyungu Creatives Village, a safe space for creatives and innovators. And so I got together our family and team, and they offered to come and share their skills with us. And so today you're going to meet very amazing people from pottery so that we know how to use clay and understand that the resources are literally just around us. So guys, I would like you to meet part of our amazing team. It's not all of us, but this is Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
She's passionate in agriculture and things like those, but she's now our current administrator. So she's the one that helps us with systems, make sure that all of us are doing what we ought to do. Then this is Maya, our public relations. She knows how to get out there and speak nice things about us, represent us right. She's a nurse, but she also makes liquid soap. Some of it is right here. And this is Aisha.
Hi. Hi, Aisha.
She does decoration, and also she's a lawyer. So she also helps us with legal advice and stuff like that. And Magezi. He's an artist. He works with Davis and a team of many others. And today you're going to spend some time with him so you'll get to know him more. Here we have Josh and Maria, who are going to take us through our first experience. Yeah? So get ready to get your beautiful fingers into the clay and do something. Yeah?
I am Maria and this is Joshua. Please cut this in. We are going to be taking this little pottery. We'll go through the processes together. We shall start with our clay preparation, and then we do the sieving, and then when the clay is dry, we do the wedging and we put it on the wheel. After, we make what we want, right? Yes. But this is going to be involved. All of us are going to take part in this. It is not only us, the two of us, right? Yes. Okay. So this clay here is soaked. We have clay inside this bucket. It is soaked. So what we do is that we wash it because we want to remove the impurities, like stones, grass, and then what? So whatever we wash from here, we'll sieve. We use a sieve. We remove the clean clay, sun dry it. Then when it dries to the point where we need, it's not supposed to dry completely. It's supposed to be like this. Still have water in it, so that it can be workable. When you're working, it's supposed to be workable, like soft. Okay. Yeah, we wash it until it is clean. Then we sieve. When you're sun drying, it is always like water, form of water, but to again come together.
Yes. So when you wash it, it all becomes liquid like porridge.
Yes.
When you dry it, it again melts.
It comes down. Yeah, it comes together. Yeah, like this one. So we shall get this at the end of it. Like okay.
So for how long do you soak the clay?
No, it depends. You just have to get the clay from where you got it from, then crush it. You soak it in water. It doesn't take more than 10 minutes. You just have to wash it. When it gets to a porridge form, you sieve it. So after washing our clay, we are going to sieve it. And we are using the sieve. But you can also use a net, a mosquito net, or anything. Any sieve, as long as it is going to hold the impurities out of the clay. Okay? So someone should hold here. So what we do is that we pour inside the sieve. Push it down. Okay. This is our sieved clay. So we have secured this place to dry it. Okay. When we are drying this clay, we use a cloth because it will allow water to move out. At the end of the day, water will move out, and then as the sun is hitting, we shall have this clay come together. Okay. So we shall pour it here and give it, if we have enough sunshine, it will take us like 2 days. If we don't have sunshine, it will take a week. So it depends on the amount of clay you have actually. More? Yeah. But this time it is very clean. Okay, so we already have dry clay, but we use the same process. So we got to our wheel and see what we are going to do next. So now we are going to start the process of making a piece out of our clay. You can go now. The reason why we add water is for it to not to be so rough in our hands, to make it soft. Because if you add water, it will be soft. You work softly with it. It won't give you hard time. Okay.
That was it from the pottery class. You got to see Maria and Joshua take us through the stages of collection and then washing it. You sieve it rather, and then you dry it up, you merge it. I can tell you it was really exciting. The contestants have learned a new skill, including myself. Very therapeutic, and I can tell you we are bringing in more. The next class is going to be about art. Let's see how we get on to getting another skills with us. Please stick around, and we are still bringing you all the best within Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express.
Uniquely ours. Explore Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Thank you so much for always choosing UBC TV to inspire you. And moving on to business, from cattle to sheep, the Microfinance Support Center is diversifying livestock farming in Ankole sub-region. And Ankole Region Zonal Manager Daniel Musherure says sheep have a higher multiplier effect and are more resistant to certain factors that affect other type of livestock, like drought, diseases, and grazing space. 5 years ago, in Chiruhura district, the Microfinance Support Center launched a mini demonstration farm to ease access to quality livestock breeds, introduce modern farming practices, and provide free veterinary services while creating jobs in the community. But what began as a modest demo farm project has grown into a full-fledged livestock diversification initiative for Ankole sub-region and beyond. As of January 2025, the project has impacted 320 members from 11 vulnerable farmer groups, distributing 88 seed animals that have since multiplied into an astonishing 878 animals, including 227 cows, 335 goats, and 316 sheep. To enhance the initiative, some of Uganda's finest agrotechnologists have been engaged to introduce farmers to advanced pasture development technologies and practices. Local leaders lauded MSC's efforts, describing the program as a game changer in rural empowerment and a model for national replication. MSC has promised to strengthen its monitoring and evaluation frameworks to track results and ensure long-term successes. Farmers have also been assured of stable markets for both sheep and mutton, further boosting income prospects. As this CSR initiative expands to other parts of Uganda, farmers are showing a positive mindset, ready to embrace livestock diversification and a pathway to stronger communities, improved household incomes, and ultimately a better nation for all of us. Now, the Queen Mother of Toro, Best Kemigisha, through Queen Mother Foundation, has partnered with MTN and friends from USA and South Africa to support vulnerable children and single mothers in Toro Kingdom. The Queen Mother's main focus is on educational support and children well-being through donations. Now, following increasing cases of orphans and vulnerable children as a result of domestic violence and single-parent-headed families, the Queen Mother of Toro, Best Kemigisha, with partners from MTN Uganda, have made 20 million donations and other materials to Toro Babies Home that looks after 50 vulnerable children. The Babies Home was struggling to raise 10 million medical care debt, a 10 million medical care debt on top of taking care of the baby's needs. The Queen Mother emphasized support for both single mothers and children to access education. Toro Kingdom's Prime Minister Armstrong Ruomire says the role of the Queen Mother is establishing schools and support government efforts in education. Other donations included beddings and solar panels to the orphanage, rice, posho, and sugar to single mothers, and there is also a pledge to extend water to enhance access to water in rural communities. Now, let's have a look at what is in the forex rates, and that is as of 20th June 2025. The US dollar opened at 3,599.68 and was selling at 3,609.68. By midday, it was at 3,599.45 and selling at 3,609.45 and closed in at 3,599.59 and sold at 3,609.59. The British pound was buying at 4,858.72 and selling at 4,872.22, and the euro was buying at 4,149.24 and selling at 4,160.77. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 27.86 and selling at 27.93, and the South African rand was buying at 199.92 and selling at 200.48. Well, that's it from JMU Business, but let's have a story on Rotary at the installation ceremony of the Rotary Club of Lunguja. Ash Chitandwe was officially installed as the president of the Masaka Corridor Rotary. Taking up this esteemed leadership role, Chitandwe immediately demonstrated his commitment to service by contributing 2 million shillings to kickstart the corridor's operations. His vision centers on fostering stronger collaboration among the member clubs in Sanji, Maya, Chengera Town, Katende, and the newly established Busega Rotary Club. With joy and anticipation, Ash Chitandwe is welcomed into the helm of Rotary Lunguja, where he now stands as the chief steward of its mission and momentum. Clothed in the mantle of leadership and entrusted with the tools of service, he steps into his role with vibrant purpose. Like the fast rains on fertile soil, Ash breathes life into the year's vision, sowing a generous seed of 2 million to nourish Rotary's work and set its noble efforts in motion. The Masaka Corridor Rotary, an alliance of vibrant clubs including Sanji Mayachengera Town Katende and the newly blossomed Busega Rotary Club, has placed its trust in Ash Chitandwe, appointing him as the new chairman. Like intertwining roots, nourishing a single tree, the corridor strengthens the collective mission, drawing upon shared purpose to cultivate deeper impact. It stands as a fertile ground for collaboration where ideas root and the resources flow freely, enabling transformative projects to flourish across communities in need. Now, Rotary clubs continue to sow seeds of lasting impact, thriving in unity by raising above the thorns of division. Pardon me, it's by rising above the thorns of division and without entangling themselves in the brambles of ideological, religious, or political discord. They remain a flourishing garden of service where diverse hands work side by side, guided by shared purpose rather than divided beliefs, as members proudly affirm. Now, let's have a look at that story and the celebration as it went down.
Imagine a life rooted in selfless giving, not for a season, but for all one's days. Such is the calling for a Rotarian. Today, Paul steps into the ever-giving garden of service, earning a badge that blossoms with meaning, a symbol of steadfast character, quiet generosity, and a heart that gives more than it takes. In choosing to serve above self, he becomes part of a legacy that grows where it is needed most.
So dear Paul, on behalf of the members of the Club of Lunguja and on my own behalf, I now induct you in Rotary. By pinning this pin on your lapel, please raise it out of pride. But most importantly, this pin shows that you give more than what you take, you are dependable, and you are going to serve above so.
With joy and anticipation, Ash Chitandwe is welcomed into the helm of Rotary Lunguja, where he now stands as the chief steward of its mission and momentum. Clothed in the mantle of leadership and entrusted with the tools of service, he steps into the role with vibrant purpose, like the first rains and fertile soil. Ash breathes life into a year's vision, sowing a generous seed of 2 million to nourish Rotary's work and sets its noble efforts in motion.
Our aim is to basically attract as very many people as possible to join the Rotary family so that we serve our communities. In service to our communities, we touch lives that actually in the day-to-day need our help. But, as we're doing good in the world, we actually give an opportunity. That child who probably wouldn't be going to school, that child whose welfare is not good.
The Masaka Corridor Rotary, an alliance of vibrant clubs including Sanji, Maya, Chengela Town, Katende, and the newly blossomed Busega Rotary Club, has placed its trust in Ash Chitandwe, appointing him as its new chairman. Like intertwining roots, nourishing a single tree, the corridor strengthens the collective mission, drawing upon shared purpose to cultivate deeper impact. It stands as a fertile ground for collaboration, where ideas take root and resources flow freely, enabling transformative projects to flourish across communities in need. Rotary clubs continue to sow seeds of lasting impact, thriving in unity by rising above the thorns of division without entangling themselves in brambles of ideological, religious, or political discord. They remain a flourishing garden of service, where diverse hands work side by side, guided by shared purpose rather than divided beliefs, as members proudly affirm.
Empower women. If we empower men, we empower the youth. Look at the youth. We have a program called Vijana Power. In this project, we empower youth with the skills.
All right, that's it from GMU Business. Up next is the agenda, and it's Cancer Survivors Month. We're having a conversation in line with that. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archives